I'm here at Sir John A. Macdonald Junior High School in Calgary. There's a campaign afoot to remove John Macdonald's name from this building. It all started down in Ontario, where a teachers' union is campaigning to remove the name of our founding Prime Minister from schools all across Ontario. Now there's copycats in Calgary demanding the same thing. In fact, there's somebody in the Calgary Herald who's campaigning to remove his name, saying that basically John A. Macdonald is the moral equivalent of Adolf Hitler because he was associated with the residential school system, which it is argued is somehow the moral equivalent to Hitler's Holocaust. Folks, we're getting our moral categories all confused here. Now, let there be no mistake. The residential school system was a terrible injustice, and many evil things happened within it. And Prime Minister Harper was right to apologize for it, and there's an ongoing need for reconciliation with our First Nations people. But to make that the moral equivalent of an attempt to exterminate the entire Jewish people of Europe, the murder of 6 million people, an industrialized killing, this suggests, I believe, that political correctness has gone way too far. Listen, John A. Macdonald was not a perfect man, but he was still a great man. As his modern biographer, Richard Gwynn, has said, quotes, "No Macdonald, no Canada." In other words, John A. Macdonald's audacity of vision is partly what made Confederation possible 150 years ago. It required bringing together all sorts of different factions that were going in their own direction. It required incredible patience and a bold vision, which he made reality with the creation of this great Northern Dominion from sea to sea. And so we must honor his vision, his central role in the creation of what has become one of the greatest, freest, and most prosperous democracies in all of human history. You know, as I say, John Macdonald wasn't perfect, and neither were the times in which he lived and governed. But nor is Canada perfect today. The point is, we always strive to do better. But I reject this campaign of total defamation, of historical vandalism being directed at our founding Prime Minister. You probably didn't know, but John Macdonald in 1885 actually called for extending the vote to women. He was 30, 40 years ahead of his time on that and so many other issues. And he was a classic Canadian in that he was a man that overcame tremendous adversity to become Prime Minister, born in a poor immigrant family, pulled himself up by the bootstraps. Much of his education was just through his own personal efforts, and he had the vision to build this Dominion. So, what concerns me is that the campaign to remove John Macdonald's name from this and other schools across Alberta and Canada is being animated by the same philosophy which characterizes the Alberta NDP's new social studies curriculum. You know, if you go and read the outline, and we'll post a link below here, it's all about the history of Canada as a history of oppression and injustice and colonialism. No presentation about Confederation or Canadian history or our founding fathers. Listen, I believe that we ought to face up to the darker moments in our history. As Minister of Immigration, I included many of those injustices in the guide for new Canadian citizens called Discover Canada. But we should teach those dark moments in a broader context, in the context of having created this remarkable free and prosperous democracy, which would not exist were it not for the leadership and vision of John Macdonald. So I say, let's stop the historical vandalism. Let's stop this radical, out-of-control political correctness. Let's stand up with pride for our own history and those who helped to build it, like Sir John A. Macdonald.